Welcome to Smalltalk episode 12. We are at a dozen, folks. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are going to be talking about season 2, episodes 10, 11, and 12. One episode and then two absolute bangers. So it's like the complete reverse of last week, where it was two awesome episodes and one that was just kind of there. But before we dive in, I got to introduce my co-host. First up from 3D Movie Cinema, it's Jacob Collins. Jacob, how are you?
I'm feeling pretty sexy right now, so thank you. Thank you for asking.
Are you a sexy boy?
Oh, I'm a very sexy boy.
Are you a boy toy?
Oh, no, we're not going that far with it, you sick fuck.
You want someone to touch your merchandise?
No, okay, Ryan, really seriously, man. You gotta stop leaving the sexy comments on my phone too. Like literally creeping on my phone like saying, what kind of panties are you wearing?
You will receive no context. But Matt Wyatt, how are you?
Dude, I'm very good. I'm getting really excited to get into these 3 episodes. I can't believe you're not so crazy about the Skinwalker episode. Come on.
Yeah,
I don't believe it was just there. It has a bigger part of this whole main story with Clark.
My grandmother and great grandmother are both Native American, and even they didn't like the episode, Matt. What's weird is my great grandmother's been dead for years. So that even shows you how bad that episode is. If I'm hearing from her. Look, no, look, this episode is not very good. Like, to me, it's like it has some ideas. I will say I did write a lot of positives down for this episode compared to other episodes. Basically, they take a spirit animal, which in Native American, your spirit animal is like what guides you, okay, in life. It's almost like, your angel on the shoulder in a situation way. I know my grandmother could probably explain it better than I could, but like that literally is what really a spirit animal is. This show takes it literally and they make it into a werewolf.
Yeah, it's odd, but that's just one part of this episode. It is season 2, episode 10, called Skinwalker.
And now the WB's New Tuesday continues with Smallville.
On the WB's New Tuesday.
According to the legend, a man came from the stars and fell in love with one of our people.
An irresistible temptation.
We were meant to be together.
His origin foretold by ancient prophecy.
He would have the strength of 10 men, and he'll be able to shoot fire from his eyes.
Now a forgotten legend will reveal his true destiny.
Lex, have you ever wondered if you were destined to be with someone? What happened to Lana?
An all-new Smallville.
While practicing motocross with Pete, Clark Kent falls down through a hole in an underground cave and meets a young Native American woman named Kyla Willowbrook. I don't believe she was in the cave when Clark fell down there. Kyla is investigating some mysterious ancient paintings in the walls of the cave, and she and Clark immediately fall in love. Like, immediately. It's kind of cartoony. Her grandfather, Professor Willowbrook, and some ecologists are fighting against the construction of a Luthor Core building that will destroy the caves, but generate thousands of new jobs in Smallville. Martha becomes split between both interests, but blind Lionel is motivated only by greed and self-interest to keep the project open, while Lana rallies the rest of the town in a protest to stop the construction. Meanwhile, a mysterious wolf creature kills a construction foreman and threatens Martha and the blind Lionel. Following investigations by Chloe, Clark believes that Professor Willowbrook is a mutant with the power of transforming himself into a wolf, but the real culprit is Kylie. So yeah, people are turning into wolves in this episode, and I did not care.
Also, they're mutants, apparently.
It's like you're gonna see
X-Men don't exist in this world.
Previously on X-Men.
Well, Alexa's mansion is the Xavier mansion, after all, if you watch X-Men. So
That's true.
Oh yeah, but speaking of which, Matt, it sounds like you're going to defend the episode a little bit.
So Matt's the one that's full of shit in this episode.
Well, let's not go quite that far. Let's hear him out.
Yeah, let's hear
I don't think it was just as bad as what you thought it was, because really the caving on the painting of the walls, it shows that the Kryptonians have been on Earth before, and they have wanted to discover Earth, and they show prophecy of what this will become, and it really it plays a bigger part in the future seasons. So yeah, that the whole turning into the werewolf stuff was a little bit too far-fetched, but I think it had something to do with the kryptonite that gave them special abilities. So I don't think that it's really too far off from what they have done, but that's just me. I mean, yeah, sure, the love story between him and Kyle was what's her name again? I can't pronounce her name.
Kyla.
Kyla, yeah.
Kyla.
Yeah,
Ryan was
yeah,
the only one that paid attention.
Yeah, the love story was a little bit forced, but I think it was just on purpose because he wanted to find someone that can actually understand him and doesn't judge him for what he has and who he is, because he's an alien and he has all these powers, and he wants someone that he can actually share it with. And that's, yeah, I understand it a little too forced that he only known her for like a few days.
I guess my main problem with it is just there's there's this whole thing with the caves being like destroyed by Lionel Luthor and the whole building of the office thing. And I would have liked to have seen something regarding that. But then as soon as it gets into the wolf stuff, it's like, oh well, the tonal clash just didn't work for me. Like, pick a lane and stick with that. I guess that's my main issue.
Yeah, I will admit, to be fair to Matt, the caves were meant to be like the Fortress of Solitude until we get to the real fortress. So this was kind of like the makeshift substitute Fortress of Solitude before we get to it.
Yeah, it was going to be a little bit, because if you've seen the octagonal disc on the Cave of the Wall, yeah, that has something to do with him, with his Kryptonian heritage, that will it be explored, and it plays a bigger part of it. It's like a close step up to the fortress.
One thing that I will say is the main connecting thread of these 3 episodes is that the pieces of the puzzle are on the table, but they're getting closer and closer to getting arranged properly. Like Lionel goes down, or not Lionel, but Lex starting to go down a little bit of a darker path. It's like the road to everyone's collective destinies is getting clearer and clearer, and as further and further we go down the slippery slope, if that makes any sense.
And we're seeing the storylines of the painting of the wall about Sagiv and Naman, a big of a foreshadowing to Clark and Lex. One will go down the whole dark path, one will go down to being the savior of the world. Yeah, it's another foreshadowing, just like the Warrior Angel storyline from comic books. It has it has a similarity to it.
I will say I did like the opening though, with like the explosion and the wolf and the explosion killing the Luther Corp employee. I thought that was a really good opening. Okay. And then it got the stupidest second scene ever is with Clark and Peter on dirt bikes. I believe Pete would be on a dirt bike. Clark would not be on a dirt bike. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
He would destroy the dirt bike. Like you saw, he was on a dirt bike and just do like a wheelie and then come down like, oh,
we noticed that there was a stunt double when it was just like a long shot of the stunt double flipping over of that bike and falling into the cave. It was so ridiculous. It doesn't seem like Clark would actually go on a dirt bike.
He would destroy the dirt bike. Why couldn't it be Pete fell into the cave and then Pete
dude, if he fell that far down to that cave, he would be in a coma.
Oh, why wasn't like Pete that found a hole and then goes and tells Clark, hey Clark, I found a hole.
I mean, it felt like it could have been handled differently for Clark to discover the caves instead of just like, oh, he fell down. Oh, how convenient.
Why not Pete saying, I'm gonna race you or something? I'm gonna race you. And then he's on a dirt bike and Clark's chasing after him. And then he's like, oh man, that would have been much better than just like, we're dirt biking. Where did Pete get the second dirt bike? I assume he only owns one dirt bike. I mean, did he buy another one for Clark?
Did he just had an extra bike for him so they can go on a ride?
Buy one, get one free and all that.
Maybe.
I did like that Clark fell into the caves. I like how he fell into the caves and then just there's randomly a woman there. I thought that was kind of cute. Like, it was just like love at first fall.
No, actually, the moment that she rips this shirt off with a shredded ab, that's when love is at first sight.
But then Clark only knew this girl for a day, and he uses his powers and just admits it to her. One day.
You didn't have a scratch on you, and what? You shoot fire out your eyes too?
Yeah, it felt a little bit way too quickly, like a little bit rushed.
Yeah, one of the main storylines of this show has been Clark basically guarding his secret from virtually everyone except for Pete. Pete knows by this point, but it is like
to earn it though. Pete had to earn it.
Pete didn't really give him the choice, so he was kind of forced to tell him.
That's
this
true.
Girl, he knew her one day.
Yeah, one day. I was like, really?
What if she was faking being like nice? What if she was really an asshole? And she ain't gonna tell your secret to the world. I mean, I just feel like, doesn't that feel like a little bit strange to Clark? It's like, Clark, dude, come on.
And also, the cave has been around for like thousands of years, and her family's been looking for it for a very long time. And suddenly, she sees the painting on the wall. Oh, there's the painting. That's what I was looking for. Oh,
Are you stupid? I mean, did you not see the painting? I mean, like Clark found it the second he fell. I mean, seriously,
and
did you fall too?
And you conveniently showed up the moment he fell and saw the paintings.
How big is that cave? Is it it looked like a very small cave? Like the exit was right there.
It almost looked like they built that set for the cave, and it looked very claustrophobic.
Yeah. Also, I honestly, this besides like the cave stuff, I did not like the Lana and Henry Small sharing DNA. I felt like that was a forced storyline because they didn't really have nothing for Lana to do.
Yeah, I believe it was either this or the next episode where we get the whole thing with Harry Small's wife being like, he's kind of a flake and you should stay away from him. I'm like, then why are you married to him? That's what I wanted.
I know, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you married to the guy?
You just buried your husband in front of his kind of sort of daughter. And I
just threw him under the bus.
I'm like, I turned into Dr. Phil's. I'm like, why are you married to him?
Why are you married to him?
I mean, really? Really, I just say, like,
such a drama queen.
The more you know. Hey, Ryan, we need to get the more you know. Like, the more you know.
I think I already downloaded it. I think I downloaded it for another video. I think I have it, but yes.
Just put that the more you know. I was like, you should put that scene and then put the more, and then you should say, and add, Photoshop your face. It's Photoshop your, or not Photoshop, but just add your voice saying after she says that line. Then you say in Lana's voice, then why are you married to him?
Yeah, until it gets too difficult or he loses interest, which he always does.
I'm like, then why are you married to him?
I also thought I like that. Also, Lex walking in on Lionel and Martha, not in a dirty way. You know, basically, like they're sitting there, they're flirt, like they're not being flirty, but they're kind of like Lionel's trying to flirt with her in a way, and then Lex walking in and like I thought that was really like, you know, he was like, he says, I hope I'm not interrupting. Like, and just like cock blocks his own father. And it's like Lionel's basically like, you little shit. Like he's thinking like, you little, I could have had her. I know I could have. I'm this close.
Hope I'm not interrupting.
Hi, Lex.
And
just because there's smoke on the roof doesn't mean there's still fire in the furnace, Lex.
Also, like, I'm sorry. Like, what's right? That caught me off guard by saying that.
Well, we lost Jacob for a minute. Matt, what did you think of the? Dang it!
He's done. He's out of it.
Sometimes Ryan gets me. Sometimes Ryan really gets me, and I'm gone. Like, God, I lost my train of thought. Matt, go. Ryan got me on that one.
Is like Lionel trying to get involved in that, or am I just too out of bounds on that?
I don't think he's at first was trying to get involved with this whole activist and cave stuff at first, until Lex came to the more interest when Clark approached him and tried to bail the chief out of jail after being like framed for a murder that he did not commit, and getting those accusations against him and try to get him bail out of jail. He's like, hey, I will change your mind if you come to this caves. And the moment he saw the obtainable disc, that's when it became an interest in him in those caves. That's when he knows that there's something linked to the ship, the disc, and everything. And then later, when we get towards the end of the episode, Lionel's like, wait, why would you do this, Lex? There's no way you're going to do it for the interest of your heart. You're up to something, and you got something that I don't know about, and I'm going to find out. That's when it became more. That's when Lionel had more interest in the caves now.
By the way, at the end, did you see Lex's shitty outfit that looked like he was in the Matrix? Like Lex literally shows up with a red turtleneck, looks like Niobe from the Matrix, and I'm just like, what? Why would
he kind of look like? No, he kind of looked like Cypher from the Matrix.
Cypher, yeah.
This week on Smalltalk Fashion Police.
In or out? Out.
Out. It's It looked terrible.
Lex.
Even with the shitty shades.
Michael Rosenbaum should have fired his stylist because, good lord.
Lex, your outfit, you're a billionaire. You could have people give you fashion tips, but today they were not looking out for your best interest. But also, I thought really, I thought Lex Lex wanting, Lionel wants to be Lex's partner. Okay, at the Lex Corp plant when it comes to the caves, and everything, or not the caves, but whenever the company. And Lex that just rejects him. I really like that aspect of the show, that Lionel wants to be a part of Lex's life. He's like, look, let me be your partner. And then Lex basically rejects him. And then Lionel's like, all right, well, I'm going to go and fuck you over then. Watch this. I'm just going to outbid you on all your contracts. Watch that. Like, I like that. Like, Lionel tried to, like, even though it was for his own greedy purposes to regain Lex Corp, from the plant. This is his own greedy purpose. But like, still, he did try, and I think Lex saw through his bullshit. So Lex just tried to get him back, and so I really like that aspect of it. And then like Lex rejects him, and also I think also that kind of, and then once Lex does the cave thing, like I like their whole conversation about the cave, and I like that, like Lex gives that line about him trying to fight his destiny to his entire life. I really like that. Did y'all catch that? Because I've been trying to fight my destiny my entire life. Like, I thought that was interesting. I also thought, the rock falling on Clark was interesting and everything. And I also thought, when Martha talking to the Native American guy, trying to reason with him, saying that she's not Lionel because Lionel just wants to do it through a legal matter. And so I thought that was interesting. And then when Henry Small shows up, and also, that's what I really liked about it. There are things I don't like about it. Like, for one, I don't like Lionel's outfit when he's talking to Lex, because he looks like Doc Ock from Spider-Man No Way Home. He has a sweater and glasses. Who, by the way, who dressed these people in this episode? You got Lex looking like he's from the Matrix over here, and then Lionel's looking like Doc fucking Ock. And so it's like, who dresses these people in this episode? They probably fired the guy.
Apparently, this is going to be the episode full of fashion police.
pretty much,
also,
yeah. Because
they got Jonathan and glasses.
There were no fashion police instances last week, so we're
there weren't. There weren't any.
Yeah, I was like, last week I was watching I was like, that was good on them. I mean, the only reason we critique this because they're making mistakes in fashion. It's not like we're looking for it. We're just like watching going, oh yeah, that's stupid. But yeah, this week, you got Jonathan wearing glasses. You got freaking Lionel Luther looking like Doc Ock from No Way Home. And then you got Lex looking like he belongs in the Matrix. So it's like, what is this? Like, what is this outfit? And then on top of that, you got like freaking the Native American girl who looks like she belongs in Tomb Raider.
That's true.
Yeah.
She does look like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider.
And also, if that woman becomes a wolf, how is other wolves making noise? Like, she's the only one being a wolf. And yet she like all of a sudden makes, oh, and then you get like 50 wolf sounds. I'm like, there's no way she could be making all these sounds out herself. I'm like, did she just summon a bunch of wolves and like, all right, we got them scared. Scatter. I got this. Like, just made no sense to me. I'm like, there's 50 wolf sounds, but only one wolf. I'm like, that does not track well at all. That just seems like illogical. Also, Lionel has no security at all. He seems like the only person at Luther Corp that has security.
You're just figuring this out now?
The cops, the security guard doesn't even kill her. It's a cop. A sheriff shows up. A cop from the Smallville Sheriff shows up.
How did Clark know where she was going to be at the mansion? Right? He shows up at the convenient time out of the blue. Like, made no sense.
I mean, that makes no sense at all logically. How Clark, that just doesn't make sense how like all the wolves were making noises when there's only one wolf. And also, it just made no sense. That did not make any sense, especially Lionel's being attacked by a wolf, and nobody, like, Lex is not around. There's no security around. Instead, the freaking sheriff's department has to show up and kill this woman. I do like how she died, though, at the end, how she got shot and died, and Clark tried to...
Well, no, she didn't get shot. She just jumped off the window, and the glass shard just stabbed her.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear any gunfire.
There was the blood on the glass.
Yeah, she got stabbed with the shard of glass when she jumped out the window.
Oh, so that's how I thought her being shot would have made more sense for her to die. Instead, she dies from being impaled by glass.
I guess.
Okay.
And the other scene where she was just going way over defensive with Clark throwing the accusation at the chief, saying that he's the wolf and doing all these attacks, and she just rushes out of there, Rage rushes out of there very quickly. Like that scene could have been handled a little differently. I feel like it was way too quick.
That's
for
when you
them
tell
to-
the cop, hey, I'm the wolf. That's when you tell Clark, I'm the wolf. What do you think about them? How you like them apples, Clark?
I didn't understand why she couldn't tell him that. Made no sense.
I mean, he was so upfront with like, "Yep, I'm an alien." So
Yeah,
it's
you
like-
literally just confessed that you're an alien. You have all these abilities, but yet she could not confess to him that she's the wolf and she's behind the attacks.
She
We
literally
clear-
gaslighted Clark.
Yeah, so quickly.
we clearly know who's doing the heavy lifting in this relationship, but the episode ends with pretty disturbing revelation that our old boy Whitney is missing in action, but that's gonna bleed over into the next episode. But I think we've discussed everything involving Skinwalker. Let's go to ratings. Jacob, what you got? 1 out of 10 shields.
4 out of 10.
Ooh, that's kind of low.
4 shields. That's all. I just I don't think it's that good.
All right, Matt, what
I was
about
gonna give 5, but then when Matt said it was glass, she didn't get shot. I'm like, oh well, then that makes it even worse. So like 4 out of 10.
All right, Matt,
Yeah,
what-
I'm gonna give this. I'm giving this rating a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe it's just me being a little bit biased because we get a little bit more. Into
You're
the
very
Superman
generous, Matt.
mythos. Yeah, I'm being very generous about it. I thought that it had a lot more redeemable qualities in this episode. Yeah, sure, it's not perfect by any means, but I thought that this episode was pretty solid. I mean, it's not just like one of those one-off episodes that will never get mentioned again. No, it's going to play a bigger part in this.
They make a
series.
sequel to this episode in season 3, by the way.
Yeah, when we
And I'm
get
just
there,
like, oh wow,
that'll be a
I have
topic
to
that we'll
relive
talk
this
about.
shit
That.
again.
Oh, we'll get to that. Don't you worry. But I'm going to go 5 out of 10. It's very much a heavy mixed bag. There is good stuff. There's some mediocre stuff too, but the mediocre stuff is just too much for me. But again, good stuff moves things forward. And again, the connecting theme, the tissue, if you will, with these 3 episodes is that it basically is pushing everybody towards where they're supposed to be, whether they like it or not. But like I said, at the very end of Skinwalker, we learned that Whitney is missing, and well, this is Whitney's swan song. It is season 2, episode 11, called Visage.
On the WB's New Tuesday, the first of 6 all-new Smallvilles. Lana's boyfriend returns.
I can't believe it's you.
What should be her happiest moment
There's something you need to know about me.
will become a day
Stay away from Lana.
Smallville will never forget.
We're supposed to be together.
Stay away from me.
The first of 6 all-new episodes.
Who you calling a freak?
Smallville.
Just as Clark and Lana are making progress, and he finally sums up enough courage to ask Lana out on a date to a local festival, an old flame rekindles when Lana's former beau, Whitney Foreman, returns from the Marines to make up for lost time. But something is wrong with Whitney, for he isn't himself. And Clark sets off to find out what's wrong and why Whitney doesn't remember some things. But the big twist is that the real Whitney was killed in action in Indonesia, and that the meteor rock shapeshifter Tina Greer from the X-Ray episode is impersonating Whitney to get romantically close to Lana. Soon, Clark finds himself in a bind. Then Tina traps and immobilizes Clark in his storm cellar, tied up with Lana's kryptonite necklace, until help comes from, all things, the spaceship. Meanwhile, Lex confronts Helen Bryce about her employment with Lionel and questions her motives for being in Smallville. So yeah, I was actually watching the Talkville episode about Visage where Eric Johnson was on, and I kind of feel sorry for him because I was talking about how I was very hot and cold on Whitney, but I think he crushed it in his final appearance, and I feel like maybe there could have been a little more mileage with him, but at the same time, I mean, at this deep into season 2, I mean, what else could you have done with the guy? But he at least went out on a very strong note, I feel. But Jacob, what about you? What did you think?
All right. Well, look, this episode. Okay, first when I looked it up to watch, I was like, this is the episode with, I can't say who was in it, but I thought a guy named Dr. Swan was in this episode. But it turns out that's for a later episode. I was like, wait, is this episode? I'm like, no, it's not. Okay, this is the Whitney episode. And so with the first 10 seconds, I like the opening with Whitney and the bombs going off and everything. I like that. I do have 2 issues with the opening. One, the opening starts with Clark and Lana. I wish that would have been like the next after the opening credits, because it starts off with Clark and Lana fixing. It looks like it just didn't feel right to me. It felt like they're all wet and everything. It felt like something you would see out of a porno. Like it just it didn't feel like something you'd see in Smallville. They're all, Clark is all wet, Lana's all wet. They're fixing, and then they're taking their shirts off and everything. And then we cut to a war scene because apparently whoever edited this episode thought, we need to go. We need to get them. We need to get the audience really turned on.
You thought that the shots between that for Lana and Clark and for Whitney was a little bit of out of order, and they should have just shifted Whitney first in the opening. I see where you're coming from.
Because it's like that. Just to me, just felt like, come on, really.
All that was missing from that moment was that part from Beavis and Butthead, where it's like, "Hey, baby, are we like gonna do it?
Hey, baby, take it off."
Oh my God. Second clip you need to add. Okay.
Yeah,
you need to add the dialogue Clark saying that. Hey,
it's already going.
I mean, Lana cannot resist seeing him all wet, having him shredded half. Like, she's waiting to get on him. She's like, just make your move and get on with it, bro.
That's that farm boy strength right there. But yeah, it was weird.
I mean, farm boy strength. He's gonna do her barnyard style.
You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com.
And I do really enjoyed the opening where Whitney is now missing in action, and him and his platoon and is trying to find a high ground to find an SOS so they can get the hell out of that mess. I mean, I don't know where they shot it, but I know, well, we already know that they never actually shot in Indonesia. But it looked very believable. The shots, the color grading felt very
it's the same area. They shot
faded, dark and faded. It felt like you were watching it was Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers type of war film.
I felt like I was watching an episode of Arrow.
Really? Oh,
yeah, when Oliver's on the island.
Yeah, like we're back on the island.
I'm pretty sure Arrow got that from Smallville.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but
why Indonesia? By the way, like why not Iraq or Afghanistan? Indonesia's not a peaceful place. Like I'm like,
I was
like, why would they choose out of all the location? I mean, we were in.
I understand you need a jungle.
The times that they were in, they could have been to Iraq and Afghanistan. That would have been more believable.
I was legit watching the episode, and when it said Indonesia, I'm like, what the? When have we had a war with Indonesia? I mean, it takes place in January of 2000. This episode came out January 14th, 2003. I mean, like, Iraq is right there. Just
Afghanistan. Afghanistan has, and they have grass. In Afghanistan, it's not just desert. I know that's the misconception. If you watch The Lone Survivor, they literally were in the forest when they got killed in the forest. They were not in a desert.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying,
by the way, Lone Survivor is a good movie. You all should
it is fantastic.
Oh, I love that movie. Very underrated.
That's why I was thinking, like, there's no way that they couldn't have just said, "Hey, Afghanistan."
Afghanistan would have made more sense.
I think they were trying not to remind people of real world events.
Yeah, I think that's the reason.
Yeah, because they're like, we don't want.
There is wisdom to it. I was just sitting there thinking, Indonesia. What did we do to piss off Indonesia?
And
or they just happen to go there or something. They happen to end up in that place.
And also, we don't never see the bad guys either. We just see bombs going off.
Yeah, we just hear the bombs go off, and the sound effects felt very similar to the meteor shower scene where there's a bunch of explosions blowing things up and has this similar sound effects. And yeah, we don't really see any chopper going around. We don't see any enemies shooting right at his platoon.
Opening credits spoil Lizzie Kaplan's return. So basically, Tina's in it. So then if you pretty much can put two and two together, hey, Lizzie Kaplan's in this episode. Whitney's in this. Oh my God, she's Whitney.
Yeah, especially with Whitney's bizarre behavior. Like that doesn't sound like what Whitney would act like that. He's acting very too aggressive, very creepy, and very sassy.
As soon as Whitney ripped that bathroom door off the hinges, I'm like, okay, something happened in Indonesia, or this is not the real Whitney. And
there's a scene where he tells Alana, it's like, hey, I got caught in an explosion. I don't remember much. So what he's saying is like, he doesn't remember the video letter that Alana sent to him a while back. Like there's something like you almost believed it for a moment because you saw the explosion when he was carrying his buddy with him, and it cuts and it ends so abruptly, and you don't know what happened in the aftermath.
It almost kind of reminded me of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Agent Coulson was sent to Tahiti. I was thinking maybe they were gonna go down like that route. Like Whitney got hurt, and then he was like sent off to a facility. And I'm glad they didn't do it, but I was thinking to myself,
He could have been Metallo before Metallo.
One question: Where did Tina get that freaking Marine uniform? Did she?
I put that in my notes. I'm like, did she steal it? Also, how would she know about Whitney in the war going to Iraq? She was in prison.
Yeah, she was in an institution. She was in a mental hospital in Belle Reve. Like, what the hell? How does she was so informed of what's going on with Whitney to find the right moment to come in and swoop in and take Lana?
There was one thing I did like. If you were when at the Whitney's homecoming party, they're playing the Good Charlotte. I want to be just like you. This is the
yeah.
I want to be just. I'm like,
I cannot believe that went over my head, but now come to think about it, yeah, it was so foreshadowing.
It's like, I want to be just like you. I want to be. This is the. I'm like, it's literally forced. It's like so on the nose to where even God's like, do you get it? Do you get it?
And I think most audience would not pay attention because they played a lot of 2000s rock music, one of the greatest hits, and they don't think about it and they don't pay attention to the lyrics of what was on the nose.
What's the meme? It would be like in the show business, we call this.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
Which, I mean, really, also, like, yeah, Whitney, where would Tina get the outfit? Also, how'd she get out of prison? They never
did she suddenly just found a Marine that came home and she just killed one of them and took the outfit, and that's what happened? That's how she was able to get a hold of that?
Because on this uniform, he's wearing a Purple Heart. And I'm no military historian, but you don't get a Purple Heart unless you're wounded in battle and you show above average valor. I know that because my uncle was in the Air Force for 30 plus years, so I know this.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there like, what did Whitney do?
No, you said that you get wounded when you get a Purple Heart. Maybe it's because that he knows that he got caught in an explosion and he got amnesia. Maybe that might be a part of where he can get a Purple Heart from that. I don't know. You can correct me on that.
Maybe she escaped maybe she. This is the stupidest theory ever, but maybe she was the one trying to blow Whitney up. Maybe she was the one going, yeah.
She took a long trip to Indonesia after breaking out of the mental hospital. And somehow, I almost thought about that too, but then it became a little too far. It became a far reach at that point. Like, it just felt like more of a coincidence now that and also, how the hell would she know? Was it in the news or something that looked up in the paper?
Maybe she's the one that started the war in Indonesia that got Whitney deployed.
That would be such a crazy plot twist if that were the case. And they'd be like, oh, God, that's so stupid.
It's not that far-fetched if you think about it. She started the war, and she's like literally like...
But how did she manage to get to Indonesia? How did she get there from a highway across outside the country?
I just imagine, like, I want to see that episode.
She had the ability to get there.
Well, Matt, you said Belle Rev, so I'm calling it now. Tina Greer is a member of the Suicide Squad.
She got killed, though.
Oh, jeez. She's dead.
She might have been on a break.
We were on a break.
Also, nobody heard the bathroom being destroyed. Like, Clark would literally just by coincidence was going there. He literally destroys like literally.
But wouldn't that be funny if Lana told Whitney like we were on a break because they were technically.
Like no one heard this bathroom exploding like Jacob mentioned. I was like, what is it going to take? Ace Ventura to walk out of there being like, do not go in there.
Do not go in. Woo, woo.
Do not go in there. Woo!
Well, and then he bitch, and then he acts like a little bitch and tells Clark, "Oh yeah, Clark was the one that did it." Why would Clark do that? That's not his MO. Clark would never destroy the bathroom.
And also, how are you able to rip the bathroom door off like it was nothing and be able to toss it like a toy?
I just think that was ridiculous. I'm like, really? Well, Tina went in the bathroom, destroyed it, and blamed it on Clark. Like.
And Lana became so gullible, like, oh, you calling him a liar? I was like, is she stupid?
Well, keep in mind,
why would Clark go in the bathroom and
This is Tina Greer as Lana, so lest we forget.
Oh, no, that was not Tina Greer's Lana. No, that was actually the real Lana at that time, yeah.
After everything he's been through, now you're calling him a liar? I can't believe you.
That was not... No, the second time we see Lana, when Pete and Clark told him to watch out that Tina is on the loose. That's when it was Tina from that scene. That's what
I
you're
did like
talking
when
about.
she
You're right. You're right.
disguised
We're talking
and
about
she
the one.
beat
Yeah, I'm
crap
talking
out
about the
of
one
Pete.
in the part where he was like, "Oh, dude, yeah, he ripped the bathroom door off. I wasn't the one that did it. He's lying."
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But that does play into the ending, which we will get into in a minute. I love the ending very much.
I do want to say I did like I just think I thought that was hilarious. Fake Whitney terrorizing Whitney's mom. I
Oh
thought
my
that was
god,
hilarious. Like, what's my
dude!
favorite song? I
the
thought
one,
the scene him killing the
most,
Marine was
most
awesome.
gnarly scene when he killed that superior Marine was about to break the news, and then he looked and very confused, like, "What the hell? This had to be a mistake."
Is actually.
The moment he was about to tell her what happened with Winnie, Tina just fucking bashed him with a baseball bat. Like, oh my god, that was so out of a horror movie. Just imagine if this was like an R-rated scene, we probably would have seen his face get like blown up because she has an incredible strength. Just imagine it.
He would have looked like Ryan Gosling's face in Drive at that hotel.
Exactly.
I also did. I thought that was kind of stupid though. That Clark went when he's torturing her. Clark went to the house, and then Whitney Tina disguises Whitney, walks out there, throws Clark down, and says, "Stay away from Lana," and then shuts the door. And then Clark X-rays the house. Clark X-rays the house.
Well, no, I think no. Hold on. I'm gonna defend that because here's the reason. He tossed this Clark like it was nothing, like fucking 5 feet apart away from the house. And it's like, how the hell are you that strong? This is like the second time I've seen him doing something out of the ordinary. So he had to X-ray him to see what the hell is wrong with him.
But the whole house was X-ray. He would have saw the other skeleton in the room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. I did not, or maybe she probably moved the body somewhere.
But I'm saying he was seeing the other skeleton. I mean, I just think there's no way that Clark's that stupid. And then Clark goes back and then does the same thing. It's like, Clark, my guy, dude, you literally were just doing this. Like, you're an idiot, Clark. I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. You could have literally saved that woman's life like an hour ago.
Definition of insanity stuff, right?
Oh yeah, because like, how did he not be able to spot Whitney's mom in the house? There should be a second person in the house, and somehow he could not see it, and he only saw with Tina. Which I get where you're coming from.
Also, wouldn't they send like another when a PO doesn't return back, or when a not PO, but when a Marine doesn't return back? Wouldn't they send especially if their car's still there? Wouldn't they send another person to make sure everything's cool? And also, where did the car go? Because like I don't know where the car did Tina drive the car off or something?
Yeah, did she suddenly find a way to get rid of that car? That like I don't know. The writer's probably like, no, not important. It doesn't matter. Let's just move on from it.
I did
dump it in the same lake that we got the villain from Cool.
She could have dumped that into the lake.
That's true.
I did like that Clark being attacked by Tina and then threw into the cellar. Although Jonathan, she disguised herself as Jonathan, okay? And pretend to work on the tractor.
That part bothered me a little bit. Like, how does she manage to like be able to
waited?
She just waited and grabbed his coat.
Is that Clark? Nope. Okay. Is that Clark? Nope. Okay.
And somehow she was able to change into Jonathan, but you need to make physical contact in order to like copy, kind of like the T-1000. You need to make physical contact or like code or object or whatever.
I just couldn't believe that she sat there for an hour or hours, pretend to work on that tractor just to catch Clark. That necklace. I'm just like, she's just like doing this. All right. Clark,
just pretending to use the freaking wrench on the tractor.
Clark, nope. Okay. Clark, nope. Okay, she's Clark.
Clark.
Like shit, he's gonna be here soon.
Playing on her Game Boy Color, like,
Yeah, but she's waiting in the farm all day, and Jonathan did not bother to go out and see what the hell is up. And the barn is like, there should be no one in there, and somehow someone's in the barn.
I'm just saying, like Jonathan, like literally, because Jonathan was with Martha when they come downstairs. So I'm like to get Clark the necklace off of Clark, and I'm just like, how does she it would have made more sense she knocked Jonathan out and tied him up or something.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. Like that's what I was like saying, like how the hell she was able to copy off of Jonathan, transform into him, because you need to have a certain object to be able to, like a DNA, certain things like fingerprints or whatever. And somehow she managed to do that.
I know we haven't talked really about Lex in this episode, but I did like that Lex and Clark were playing pool, talking about their problems. Because I did like that Lex confronted that girl being like, I saw you playing pool with my dad. I saw you know he's let me rephrase that. I saw you. You weren't playing pool.
Yeah,
I saw you.
She was playing pool with his dad.
How dare you?
Man. Yeah, that's real smart. But
it sucked if she was losing too.
Yeah, because we see the scene
really
where Lex was confronting Helen, like that he had her being followed, and found out that she was been talking to Lionel, and just called her out on it.
You had me followed?
No, I had my father followed. Now, unless you both share a passion for feeding pigeons, there must be a reason for your meeting.
Like literally, I'm like, how does that work? Like Lex just confronts her and everything, and like I rightfully so. It's like, yeah, the last girl that I liked, she literally, I met her like a week ago, and she hypnotized me into marrying her. So I am I'm very what's it called? I'm very leery about women, especially beautiful women that are attracted to me, especially
that would take advantage of him. That would totally take advantage of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's being more cautious than usual. He's being more careful of who he's meeting, who he's dating.
Because he's like a bald guy. He's a rich bald guy. And like a lot of women aren't lining up to date the guy who looks like the ShamWow guy or the Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean. But yeah, at first when this happened, I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I'm not sure if I like it. But the more I thought about it, the more it did make sense, because like you guys were just talking about, Lex is very rich. Like beautiful women would, like, I mean, take advantage if they were so inclined. It is unfortunate, but it has happened. I don't exactly love it, but it makes sense, and they do make up by the end with a very nice,
He's gone.
What did I say now?
It was like Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean.
You brought up Mr. Clean.
Listen, Lex is like a Mr. Clean.
All you gotta do is just give him a white t-shirt, a white tight t-shirt, and with an earring, and just have him cross. There you go. Then he's Mr. Clean.
I'm like, I wish someone would say that as a joke to Lex, like, you know, is this Mr. Clean looking motherfucker over here? And then Lex just looks at her like,
yeah,
like, because I'm bald, you see, I'm bald. But yeah, I also agree though, like how baldy Mr. Clean Lex looks is like very leery, because I mean Lex is like, look, my father screwed me over my whole life, and so I like that aspect that he's like very, I'm gonna be optimistic, you know.
Yeah, because he believes that Helen's the one that she's being used to spy on Lex and see what he's up to, and like what do you expect him to react? And then Helen just simply like stormed off in a rage storm off and saying like, and try to break off this whole relationship. I was like, wow, like can you at least understand where he's coming from and tell your side of the story first?
Would it be a stretch to say, like, because Lex kind of like, she was the doctor for Jonathan Kent, so Lex basically went into her area. And also I will say that anger management, that would be right there is where I would say that would be a little bit suspicious. But as for like, you met her through, like, because she was Jonathan's doctor, it wasn't like you know, you and her met at a coffee shop and she goes, oh my god, you know, that would be suspicious. Or be suspicious if she was talking to your dad and then she's like, oh hi Lex, you know, it'd be different. But then I understand, like, it's a stretch, but like, you know, I understand this is not convenient. This is convenient. You know, it's like you were someone's doctor and then me and you had a rival. Now, I will say I am suspicious. She kicked an orderly and got anger management when most people that kick orderlies would be fired. Maybe she got assaulted. Maybe she assaulted the orderly, got fired. She asked Lionel Luthor to help her and he got her job back. All she had to do is go to anger management. Maybe. I mean, I just saying that could be, that's just my opinion. But also, what did you guys think that of Clark? Tina disguised as Clark, and then being like Tina v. Clark in disguise and be Clark versus Clark, kind of like the No Way Home, where I'm Clark. Like,
I thought that was fun. I did like that very much.
Get away from her!
What's going on?
Nothing. I'll explain everything when I get you away from Tina.
Tina?
No, Lana, that's Tina. Lana, it's me, Clark. Don't listen to him. He's lying. The guy who fixed the leaky drain pipe.
Also, did you like the ship turning the necklace clear? The ship with magical powers.
I was honestly shocked a little bit because like when it was happening, I was like, well, how's Clark going to get out of this one? I'm sure Jonathan's going to run down, but no, it didn't happen. And then the ship basically drank the kryptonite like it was a milkshake or something and then turned it into a regular crystal. I was thinking to myself, well, I wonder if, and I know you all can't tell me, play the brand.
I can neither confirm or deny with the Secretary's approval.
I can neither confirm nor deny details of any such operation without the Secretary's approval.
And I know you all can't tell me, but I wonder if that's going to come back. I hope it does, because I mean...
Oh. Yeah. It will. It will make sense.
Yep.
So at first I was like, oh, that's strange. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, I'm sure they're bringing this around to something. So I thought it made sense. But I do love this ending, though. It's a very sad ending. But
it's really sad. I loved it.
Kristen Kroik really she understood the assignment and crushed the assignment on this one. I'm going to play the ending. I'm going to chop it up a little because not to get in
the song too is so good. The song
copyright jail too bad, but
and
yeah,
I think I'm dying. I'm like, it's a mad world. Oh my god, that is so sad. Especially because have you ever seen Donnie Darko? The ending of Dark is fucking sad. That song plays over, and I'm like, oh my god, this is just such a sad ending. And then, like, every time I think of that song, I think of Donnie Darko. So every time, so watching.
Oh yeah, I forgot that song was playing during. I've only seen Donnie Darko once.
That ending made me cry. I cried because that song plays, and it's just.
I mean, it got a little bit emotional by the end, but when we found out that Jonathan broke the news that Whitney died in combat, and then we see Clark really has a lot of self-doubt, like, hey, Whitney put his uniform on and put his life on the line to fight for this world, his country. And he was questioning, like, if I didn't have, wasn't bulletproof, would I still risk my life for it? Without my powers?
Clark,
and Jonathan was like, I had no doubt that you would.
Clark, if you go to war, you're Dr. Manhattan. Essentially, you win every war. They're gonna think you're a god among men. When you go to war and you kill all the soldiers, and then they all want to I'm talking about Watchmen.
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan just won the war of Vietnam, and then they all wanted to pray to him because they're like, he's the superior one.
They all want to worship him because he's a god.
Preferably, Clark should keep his clothes on for that one, but
you don't want to see
Dr. Manhattan just like to show off his schlong, his lightsaber schlong.
And by the way, my uncle.
I do genuinely love this ending. I will play it. I will chop it up to not get copyrighted too terribly bad.
Places, worn out faces, up there.
Anna.
No express.
I called your house. Your mom said you were down here. I never should have sent that video.
Don't do that to yourself.
Every person that I've ever gotten close to just leaves.
It's not true.
Yeah, it is. My parents. Now, Whitney. I know I haven't been a good friend.
Great friend.
No, I have doubted you. Accused you of things, and still you're here, protecting me. I don't care if you have secrets, Clark. You are the one good, constant thing in my life, and I don't want to lose you too.
I'm not going anywhere.
It's a beautiful song.
The performance was really believable for her, having a big emotional breakdown that every around her that she comes close to leaves, but Clark was always going to be there no matter how much she doubts him at many occasions. But he would still always be there. And going back to what Clark has said, like, hey, would I still risk my life without my powers? And he would have, and I believe he would, because the powers is not what makes him who he is. It's what he already who he already is. It just amplifies on what he would actually do and what he was taught to do.
Now, here's a weird reference, but it's like that scene in Transformers where Bernie Mac says the driver doesn't pick the car picks the driver.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, beautiful ending. And I think it sounded like we were like roasting the episode. I don't think that was our intention. We just do
no,
this.
we're just having fun. Yeah, we're gonna make fun of it. Dude, we'll make fun of every episode that we love. That's gonna happen.
I was literally gonna make a Dr. Manhattan reference, but then now the ending, I'm like, we're talking about the ending. I'm like, oh man, it's too late for that. But I was like, that Dr. Because I was thinking something funny, but I'm like, yeah, the ending is really good though.
It's just too sad.
It's just such a sad ending. It's like, man, instead of like Whitney literally dies, and you're just like, well, that sounds really depressing.
we were just so like frustrated that we felt like Whitney deserved better than what he got. Yeah, sure, he went out and what he did for this country, but we kind of wanted a little bit more, and we felt bad for Eric Johnson not wanting to give a little bit more like a send off to Whitney.
I wish they would kind of brought him in for 3 episodes, and we only got 3 episodes with him.
Yeah, it would have been good to have a 3-episode arc with him instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, here he is," like he's missing in action, and then he died in combat because he wanted to get home to Lana, even after he saw the breakup letter video that Lana sent to him. And what would have happened if he did actually return home from the war?
He probably wouldn't
how would that get resolved with their relationship?
He probably wouldn't have a landline in 2023 like you do.
That's on that note, let's go to and to finish the thought I started. We're not trying to roast the episode. I think we all really liked the episode. It's mostly just to entertain ourselves. Like, but, I made,
and also like the Skinwalker episode, I've been a little bit more of a defender than the two of them. So like, yeah, we roasted a couple of times, but they disliked it more than I do. But yeah, but here's the thing: we roast for every episode, even the episodes that are so good.
I got some issues with the next one. The next one is my favorite episode of all 3. And I got some issues with it, but I really love that episode. This one, I think this is my second favorite. Visage. My least favorite is Skinwalker, and then Insurgence is my favorite.
But before we get into Insurgence, Jacob, what's your rating 1 to 10?
I would say this is about an 8.
All right, Matt, what about you?
Yeah, this is about like an 8.5 out of 10 shields. Pretty good. Better episode. Yeah, I like the episode a little bit more than the Skinwalker. Yeah, you know what? It's a major emotional episode.
I'm gonna match Matt on that one and go 8.5 as well. The ending really carried this one home. It's a beautiful but a very tragic ending. Kristen Kroik really just crushed it. I mean, Lana's character hasn't really gotten the most riveting plot lines in this series so far, but Kristen Kroik really just always delivers.
Yeah, I just realized something. That Whitney, the showrunners must really love Whitney, because everybody in his family gets a perfect send-off. Like his dad was only in 1 episode. He got a nice funeral. Whitney gets a nice, like beautiful ending. It's like, man, they must really love it. I mean, if Whitney had a dog and his dog died, they would give him like a beautiful send-off too. They'd have a sad song like "It's So Sad, Mad World."
I mean, it's very odd that Whitney did not get a funeral. Like, where was that? I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Well, they couldn't find his body.
His character. They still could have given him a funeral. You don't need a body to have a funeral. They could still do that to pay respects. That happens a lot. They could have done it. I mean, he was a part of the regular in the first season, a major role, and to see him die off and he doesn't get a funeral, but his dad gets a funeral when we hardly see him in the show.
Right. And then that was Ryan's favorite moment. He's like, "Oh yeah, that was such a great funeral for the character we saw one time." That was the greatest thing ever. If the Kents had a cow and that cow died and then they had a sad funeral, I would be like, that's the greatest thing ever, because it's a funeral. It's sad. Even though it has zero meaningful purpose at all.
I'm never going to hear the end of that. But with that in mind, let us now move on to the final episode we'll be talking about on the show. Season 2, episode 12, called Insurgence.
Stay tuned for scenes from next week's all-new Smallville. On the WB's New Tuesday, an all-new Smallville, Lex Luthor finally crosses over.
Do we ever go? Do it.
To the dark side.
Smoke, get him in the air! Now!
My mom is one of the hostages being held up there.
Got 10 minutes.
You have no idea what I'm capable of. You have to talk to Lex.
Why are you telling me this?
You will pray to God you never set foot in Smallville.
Get out of here now!
An all-new Smallville.
When
love
Lex
this episode.
Luthor loses a $150 million contract to Luthor Corps, he finds that his mansion was bugged by his father. I'm honestly shocked that Lex didn't see that coming, but anyway. He hires a team to bug the offices of Luthor Corps, expecting to find the building empty since it's a Sunday. But Lionel Luthor assigns Martha to work in his office with him. Jonathan becomes very upset. In other words, water is wet and the sky is blue. Lex calls off the action, but the leader of the group of industrial spies is killed by a member who wants to steal the contents of Lionel's safe. Martha and Lionel become hostages of the criminals, and when they open the safe, a great secret is disclosed. Meanwhile, Lana schedules a meeting with Mr. and Mrs. Small in the Talon to get to know Jennifer Small, who warns Lana about her husband. So, Jacob, I was texting you about this episode, and you definitely compared this one to Die Hard, and the parallels are definitely there. I really enjoyed this one.
Oh yeah, I love this episode. This is a fantastic. I love watching this. This is probably my second favorite episode of season 2 because I like it. You get to spend the whole time in Metropolis. The opening is strong because Lex is literally destroying his office. He's just destroying everything. He's just so angry because he's mad that his father, outbid him. I do like that he was humble to the lawyer because at first he was chewing him out, but then he was like, realized I'm not my father. My father would he tells my father would do this to you, but I'm not my father. I'll let you keep your job. I'm like, I like that.
But I'm not my father. All I want to know is how he found out. And how I can stop it from ever happening again.
Lex is being, then Lex destroying his place looking for bugs. I like that he was like, and then Clark tells him you might want to check the radio. Then he just takes a golf. He just smashes.
Hey, what about
radio.
Your stereo?
Now they can't talk because he smashed his stereo. But seriously, because I did like that. I know Michael Rosenbaum did not like that because in Smalltalk and Talkville, he said that why would Lex do that? He would hire a team. He would not do it himself. He would just have a team come in and they would debug the place. He would not just start destroying all the stuff like a barbarian.
Yeah, wouldn't they have a device where they can just see what other devices that have been bugged in the house, in the mansion?
Yeah.
And he could not hire a
bunch
bunch of people to do the job instead of just tearing it apart.
Yeah, Enemy of the State came out in '98 and it had all that stuff happen.
Y'all are forgetting one very crucial thing. Lex was pissed. And
he was. Yeah, that's true. He was super pissed that he outbid him without any knowledge. Like, what the hell?
Never underestimate the power of an angry man. I mean, James Rolfe made an entire career by being angry and ranting about video games. So did Lewis Black. Well, Lewis Black's a comedian, but I don't know where I was going with that. Point is, Lex was very angry at the situation, so he just basically took it into his own hands. So I'm gonna allow it.
Also, I do like that Lex hired a team to bug Lionel's office. It's kind of like, oh, you fucked me, so now it's my turn to fuck you, Dad.
And it's kind of weird. Yeah, it was weird that he
a pissing contest between.
Yeah, and also they double cross him. Now it became more of a heist mission.
By the way, have you ever heard on small? They talk about this on Talkville. They said that Lionel taught him how to touch people. Like John Glover taught him how to touch people, and so he said that he would go up to people and when they were shooting in Smallville, he would just do his hand like this and go like "son." And that's how he showed him the touch. When you go up to and put a hand on a cheek, go, "Son, I love you." So then when Michael Rosenbaum's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna try that now." So when there's ever a female guest star, he would go, "It's okay, I'm here for you." And the director would be like, "Michael, stop touching the guest star. Michael, stop doing that. It's weird." And he goes, "John does it." He said, John is a Grammy-winning actor. You are not."
I don't know where else to put it in here, but I recently watched In the Mouth of Madness for the first time for Scary Mania, and John Glover is in that movie. He plays the main head of the psych ward that Sam Neill's character gets thrown into. And when I first saw his face, I'm like, there's no way. And come to find out, that is John Glover. You can count the number of scenes he has on one hand, but he's in there. So I don't know what I was intending to do with that, but I saw it. I just thought it was neat.
He's also in Gremlins 2 and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
He's the scientist who creates Bane. That's right.
Yeah.
He's a crazy scientist.
That's actually similar how he got cast in Smallville, because I think what it was is because he did Batman and Robin, so the Warner execs knew him because he did a couple movies for him. He did Gremlins 2, and he did Batman and Robin. I think they were looking for someone to play Lionel, and then I think like they had somebody, but it didn't work out. So then they asked him, would he do it for like 1 or 2 episodes? And he said sure. And then because he did such a good job, it just became a reoccurring, and then it turned into now he's on the show forever. So I think that's like, which I'm glad because he's such a good actor too. You know, like he's so good.
Incredible. Yeah,
especially he's blind. Yeah, you feel like he's still in control. Like I love how when they bug his office, and then like Lex kind of has a heart-to-heart with Clark, and then they just go like literally, like, you know, and then all of a sudden like it turns into like a hostage situation when they're like, oh, we don't care if you call us off, we're gonna still steal all this shit out of his safe. And then like they kill the guy, and then all of a sudden like they bring Lionel in, and then it becomes like a bidding war between Lex and Lionel. And Lionel knows that that's Lex on the phone too, even though he won't. He knows because he's like, who else would try to screw me over?
Like you should know who like the guy was like, you should know who your enemies are. And I think like, dude, we all know that Lionel knows that's Lex on the other side of the line. When he's doing that whole anonymous call, Mr. Green.
I'm like, we all knew, especially at the end when like Lex is like, oh, I'm so glad you're safe, and he goes, get your.
And also, yeah, Lex is like, literally responsible for the hostage situation with Martha because she's got caught in the crossfire. In the scene where Jonathan just confronts Lex, caught him in the act, calling the guy who was taking them hostage. Like, if I find out if you had anything to do with this whole thing that's going on, you better pray to God that you didn't set foot in Smallville. I was like, damn, like he was being a lot more aggressive and threatening with Lex.
If I find out that you had anything to do with what's going on out here, you will pray to God you never set foot in Smallville. You believe me.
I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go to the middle of the night. I want to piss on his ass.
Yeah, and Lex, like literally, and this is like how Jitters was Lionel's fault. This Insurgence is Lex's fault.
Oh yeah, this is definitely Lex's fault in this one.
I do like how it parallels. Have you noticed how like in Jitters, Clark and his
the family group hug thing, and then Lex sees wishing that he would have that happening again in this episode at the end.
Except Lex is like didn't even fake hug because Lionel's pissed at him. He goes, "I'm getting my things from the mansion." He goes, "I hope." He goes, "No, you've done enough." Like you just like, oh, like Lionel's like, I don't even want to speak to you because you everything. This is all your fault basically. Like Lionel knows, and then like Lex is like. Feels like alone, and especially how they're hugging Lex just watching them. And I'm like, I don't feel bad for you in this episode, Lex, because you did this yourself.
That's true.
That is your fault.
And also, as we get into the safe, as they crack the safe open, we've seen a lot of like bricks of kryptonite. We've seen a lot of confidential files. That includes with Clark, that has a confidential file that he has on him because apparently he's investigating Clark the whole time. And also, he has the octagonal disc. He had that the whole time, in which I don't know how he got it. Like, how did he get his hands on that?
That's a big issue. I did this not
that
like
never
that.
Gets explained.
How did he get that? Okay.
I mean, lest we forget that Lionel was living in Lex's house for a good long while. Even while blind, I'm sure he has a general feeling of where everything is. So,
but
the disc was missing.
It was in the ship. And you saw the in the ship floating away in the season 2 premiere. So it was in like a field somewhere. So Lionel would have to literally have teams searching.
There's how did he manage to find it? Because it was stranded out in the middle.
That's like a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. And it just like, no, he suddenly got his hands on it.
Yeah.
No explanation. Even Stephen Hamilton was looking for that technical disc as when he found that ship.
Unless there's another ship. No, I'm going to that.
I also like that Lionel had kryptonite and like how he had a file on Clark and everything. And I thought Lex trying to help the thieves get out the building, and like him and Lionel turned into a bidding war of like who's going to keep the shit, Lionel's shit. And then on top of that, I did like Jonathan confronting Lex about that. And also I did like that, that Lex has Clark and calls it off and everything. And I did like that Lionel kills the thief at the end, just shoots him dead. Like
he had a good aim. It was that moment where he was faking blindness, or how did he manage to get him at the right moment when Clark and the thief was going at it, and somehow he managed to get a good shot.
Have you noticed though, whenever Martha was looking at the file for the Kents, have you noticed that whenever she looked at like after she was like picking up the stuff, she picks up Clark's file, and all of a sudden, Lionel like just did this, like, like.
Ooh.
Have you noticed that? Because
the look on his face, the moment that she was trying to get a glimpse of what's on Clark in the file, on his file.
Like he looked down at her and did this, like.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was subtle, but it was there. Shout out to John Glover. He really crushed it. I mean, he always does, but especially in these little moments in this episode, like he really did a great job. And at first, when the whole thing went down of Jonathan chewing out Lex again, and then Lex saying, "I am sick and tired of listening to your platitude," I'm like, "You go, Lex," because I was in there like Jonathan's like chewing him out again, despite Lex trying to prove that he is not his last name, and then Jonathan having to crawl back and say, and not even get it out. Lex just be like, "I'll give you a helicopter ride to Metropolis." It was like, it's like the old adage, keep your words soft and sweet because you might have to eat them.
Also,
yeah, he didn't hesitate to say, "Yes, I'll give you a chopper." Like, apology accepted.
I did like the music at the end when Lex is looking at the Kents and he's alone. I don't know what song it is, but you know, I'm talking about the song that was playing after Lionel walked away. He's like, "I'm getting my things from the mansion. I'm leaving." You know, Lex is just
soon find me in the future.
Yeah, I like that song. That song played so well over, and I mean that's just Smallville with great songs. And also, I that's all I liked about it. I did not like that. Why wouldn't Lex do a background check on the bug team to bug Lionel's office? That way he knows that we're not.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like, he didn't bother to get a background check to these thieves that he hired to
background check
to bug Lionel's office, and then suddenly they double crossed him, and he didn't bother to get a background check. Like, really?
It's not like background checks didn't exist in the early 2000s. I mean, I once had a job where I had to put in 4 background checks, and they take a long time to complete.
But also, he hired him anonymously. They don't know that that's Lex Luthor was the one that hired him to bug Lionel's office.
Yeah.
I have one thing that's gonna make y'all hate this episode, and I'm sorry. I'm trying not to, but it's one of the stupidest plot errors that I'm thinking. I thought of this morning when I woke up. I'm like, what? Wouldn't this happen instead? Why wouldn't Clark just super speed upstairs and knock the thieves out?
Yeah,
I think he tried, but then that
oh yeah, there was kryptonite. Oh yeah, there was kryptonite that got in the way.
Yeah,
but no, I'm saying like
but there was
he didn't know what kryptonite was up there. Like he did not know. Like he was about to like go under. He was gonna try to be stealthy and go under, like under in the sewer. But I'm like, why wouldn't you just super speed up the stairs in the door to the office? It would have made more sense.
Yeah, he could have snuck in. He could have snuck inside the building in front of the building without being noticed.
There was tons of people around. They could.
But he's faster than a speeding bullet. They would have seen him. It would have been like wind passing through them. Like,
I don't know. I don't think it's as big a problem as you're making it out to be. I did like the Matrix-esque like jump from the Daily Planet over.
Oh, when he was jumping, when he was jumping right across from the Daily Planet to the Lionel Luthor's building, which I thought was pretty badass.
All that was missing was Morpheus saying,
"Free your mind."
Like he is the one.
So now you got to include that scene of that Clark jumping, and then you hear Morpheus say, "Free your mind."
Oh, totally.
But there was a scene where, like, for the moment when you first watch it for the first time, you're wondering, is he gonna actually fly in this episode? Because you see a lot of birds like flying right across the near side of the building. A little of foreshadowing where he has to like overcome his fears and his obstacles from gravity and heights, because he has a fear of heights. And he's like, screw it, and he runs. Like, at first I thought he was gonna fly for a moment, but then we see that he leaped right across the building.
I love that scene though, when like he starts out, he's like, all right, this is good, but then the fear goes across, like, oh God, I'm halfway in between 2 skyscrapers. And we all know he's the Man of Steel, so
he'll just hit the ground and come back and get back up and do it again.
Yeah, so what are you afraid of, dude? You can't die from falling to your death. But the visual, but how great those visual effects shots look.
But if you hit that building, it might be like a plane
2000s.
crash or something into that building or something. It'd feel like a car hit it or a plane hit it.
Right. And in the early 2000s, those visual effects shots of him leaping right across the building looked incredible. It looked cinematic.
Yeah, they were very good.
It was a really good shot, and that's also green screen, a blue screen. Because
that was done.
I saw behind the screen like that. Tom Welling just jumped onto it like a mat.
Yeah, I saw that.
But yeah, it was really loaded episode with a lot going on. I wasn't so big of a fan of the whole Jonathan and Martha fighting at the beginning. I mean, I guess is the whole thing of these two people, Lionel and Martha, are about to be kidnapped. So it's the whole thing of you never know what's going to happen. So be sure you like watch what you say to your loved ones. But at the same time, I was like, this feels contrived. Like Jonathan and Martha have been pretty solid up to this point, but is like now you guys are fighting over the fact that Martha is basically Lionel's personal assistant. Is like, and I get it, it's their anniversary, but at the same time, I'm like, you guys have known these Luthers for how long now? You know that like the Luthers are like crazy people who have no schedules. It's like, I don't know. It felt
they don't care about the schedule. And Jonathan gets very triggered when it comes to the Luthers. He'll just like lash out with Martha because he's so frustrated. It's like, dude, I've been planning this anniversary a while, and for you to say no, we got to reschedule. Like, no, dude. Yeah, it kind of felt a little off for Jonathan. Like he's a little too overdramatic. Like, dude, you know that the Luthers don't care about schedules. They don't care about your personal feelings. They will explain that in the future episodes, which I don't want to spoil.
Okay, all right. Then.
I was going to say, you know, in the business we call this foreshadowing. I feel like that's going to come back.
Yeah, there's going to be a good reason why she's keeping that uptangled disc from Clark and Jonathan.
What would you
and not telling them?
What did you think? What do you think about this episode, though? Is this your favorite one, Matt?
Wow, it's very tough, and it's between with the Whitney the Tina Greer episode in this. Yeah, I don't know. It might be my favorite. It probably is my favorite of the three.
What about you, Ryan?
It's my favorite barely. Like Visage is really good, especially the ending, but Insurgents just like they're like 1A, 1B. They're really close.
It would have been great if
somewhere
Clark
in the
was
middle,
like taking out the bad guys in the office. It was like, and then he says, "Now I have a machine gun." Ho ho ho, just like in Die Hard. Or the bad guy goes yippee ki yay, and then he just like pushes the guy. But the bad guy does die. Similarly, like in a way where he has something at Lionel, and then Clark just goes and shoots the laser beams out, and then of course him and Clark are about to fight, and then all of a sudden Lionel shoots the guy. So I thought that was a good episode. I really enjoyed this episode. This is a fantastic episode.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, Jacob, 1 to 10, what you got?
It is a 9.5.
All right, Matt, what about it?
It's between 8.5 and a 9. I don't know. It's very tough because I love the last episode and this episode equally. I mean, I'm probably going to give it a little bit of a 9 out of 10 for this episode. The tensions got a little bit high. The stakes got a little bit higher too. We got a little bit more like scenery in Metropolis for the first time that we haven't got around to at the time.
Yeah, I'm going to go 9 as well. This was a really solid episode. It moved a lot of things forward. It basically galvanized certain relationships and, like I said, moved things along. Like certain things in this show are a coffin on roller skates. So, like,
and the thing is that this was not a Freak of the Week. This wasn't a Freak of the Week episode.
That's true.
Yeah, these people aren't freaks of the week. It'd be funny if they were freaks and they were just like, he was using.
No, they were just ordinary people or ordinary criminals.
Yeah.
If this was season 1, the guy would have shot bullets out his ass or something.
But yeah.
This episode was very Die Hard episode, which I did not think about that until Rosenbaum and Tom Welling brought that up. Like, wow, yeah, it did have a lot of influence on Die Hard.
I mean, if you're going to pull influence from anything, one of the best action movies of all time is certainly.
Looks like yippee ki yay, motherfucker.
I would have laughed if he actually. No, that would have been funny if Lionel said that because he shot that thief in front of Clark, and that would have been great for Lionel to say that.
I mean, is it really that shocking that Die Hard is like the go-to movie to rip off when it's a hair? I mean, Sunny in Philadelphia even ripped off Die Hard.
They did.
Yes, and it was actually it was very stupid though, but it was funny. So I mean, I like this episode though. It's a very fantastic episode. Ryan said it's his least favorite episode.
No, I did not. You are not listening. But we are officially over the halfway point of season 2.
What's the next 3 episodes?
The next 3, I am pulling it up now, is Suspect, Rush, and Prodigal. So 13, 14, and 15.
Wait, say that again.
Suspect, Rush, and Prodigal.
I like Rush and Prodigal. I do not like Suspect. To me, that is like the stupidest episode because we keep getting a fucking same thing from different perspectives, and I'm like, I do not like that.
Yeah, I accidentally caught the first couple of minutes because I was editing something and I wasn't paying attention, and I turned and I'm like, wow, the ending of Insurgence really took a turn. And it's like, no, like the autoplay just went, and then like Lionel Luthor is shot, and then Jonathan Kent's being arrested for something again, and I'm just like, oh god, this is not going to go well.
The whole episode is literally who shot Lionel Luthor, and you
who
get
done
like
it. It's supposed to be a mystery of who done it.
It's like every back in the day, Hollywood was famous for, like, they did it with Dallas. They even did it with The Simpsons, where someone gets shot and then you got to figure out who shot this person. And so basically this is that episode, and it's so tiresome. I'm like, when Dallas did it was clever, but now it's just so tiresome to where I didn't even think it's not even that good of a payoff either. I'm like, to me, it's not that good of a payoff. Matt, you've seen it, right?
Of course.
I'm just saying the payoff's even like, really? It's this person? Really? I'm like, okay. Like, and just to me, I just thought it was stupid. I'm just like, this is not that good of an episode. I'm like,
I felt like the reveal of who did that, who shot Lionel, could have been better.
It just, and I'm tired. We got seen like 15 different people.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy that Suspect episode. It's like we're trying to see who's the one who shot Lionel, and it just gets crazy and ask questions.
We even get the dog's perspective of the dog shooting Lionel.
No, we didn't.
What having fun?
All that and more on next week's episode of Smalltalk. But thank you all so much for checking out this week's episode. If you like the episode, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We do this every Tuesday. But Jacob, Matt, it's a privilege to do this with you every week. It's like a serotonin level, like it's a serotonin spike for me. It always just hits me right there. I love doing this with you every week. But Jacob, you're going to be coming up on the channel here very soon, talking about Hellraiser for Scary.
I've already shot my end. I just got to send it to you.
Here on the channel, that is coming up. What have you got going on your channel?
Well, I just uploaded some content to my OnlyFans, so you're gonna see my ass cheeks in a few days. You're gonna be like, whoa, 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 whoa. No,
Inglorious 3D.
Glorious 3D. That's right. No, I just
with smell-o-vision. If Robert Rodriguez can do it, so can you.
I mean, really. No, I actually I just did a collab with Dave Gillard from Interpreting the Stars, and it's going to be on disturbing behavior, which is kind of like a high school version of Get Out.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's actually a pretty good movie. Yeah, it's the guy. Ironically, the person that made Smallville made it, and the whole movie feels like a Smallville episode, only an R-rated version. Like the first 10 minutes of the movie feel like Smallville. Like I was waiting after the first 10 minutes for the opening credits of Smallville going, "Someone save me." Like it's very Smallville. Like David Nutter, who directed the pilot of Smallville and directed several episodes of Smallville, directed this. His was his first movie, and it's a good film. I just think it's very Smallville-esque. So I mean, like I like it, but yeah, that's what's coming up. And also I just did a watch along with Jacob Martin on his channel. We did a Halloween watch along, and I got some other things coming up, but yeah, that's what I'm going. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, yes. I just recently uploaded the Blair Witch Project Paranormal Activity review for my Halloween horror special. I recorded a couple of videos with the reviews of The Descent, Lights Out. I'm excited to upload that. There's still going to be a lot more to come, and I'm still planning on seeing Saw X and The Exorcist Believer. I'm like, wow. I haven't had the time to see it yet, but I'm planning on going to see those. It
comes
movies.
out on digital on the 27th. The Exorcist Believer on the 27th of October.
It is. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it didn't flop, but like,
well, yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's a bad reception. They're like, it's coming.
I don't know if I'm willing to pay $20 to rent it, but because I have AMC A-list, so I might as well just take advantage of using that up.
Yeah,
if you want to follow my social media links, the link tree will be down in the description down below in this video, and I would really appreciate the support for my YouTube subscription. I boost those numbers. I would really appreciate it. And there's a lot of reviews that I've done with my recent film for 2023 with the creator Expendables 4, which I ranted on that movie for 12 minutes straight. You can definitely see that. And I'm really excited to continue to do more horror reviews.
Yeah, Matt's going to be on this channel again to talk about The Faculty for Scary Mania 4, and his link tree will be in the description. Go give him a subscribe there. Scary Mania 4 will be ongoing throughout the rest of this month. I want to thank all of you for checking out the videos. They have been doing, I'm not a YouTube numbers guy personally, but they have been doing very well. So I cannot thank you all enough. I'm close to 400 subscribers on this channel, which is just a mind-blowing thing for me. So I thank you all so much. Your subscription is well worth it, and it means so much to me. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. But until next week, for Jacob Collins, for Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Cam. For truth, for justice, for the American way. We will see you in the next one. Y'all take care.